Welcome to the Political Run with me, the voice, right on Ghana and 7TVGH. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on the notification that anytime videos of this nature are uploaded, you'll be notified.
What a humbling assignment. Obviously, I'm not His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, the gentle giant. I am privileged to stand here as his adopted son and protege to speak to a speech that he wants to be delivered to this conference. And just before I go on, Chairman, I met my big brother, a worthy son and protege of His Excellency, former president here, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam. And so I told him that I will seek permission from him to continue to do the assignment. And I'm hopeful that it's granted. His Excellency would have wished to be here with us, and so he says that me, Chairman, and all guests, I should convey his warm felicitations. I want to go ahead and read what he wanted us to present here. Our Chairman, Your Royal Majesty the Ga Manche, Ni Taki Teikotru II, distinguished organizers from the University of Professional Studies, Accra, honored officials, traditional leaders, members of the private sector, development partners, and fellow citizens. Good afternoon. I feel deeply honored to speak at this national dialogue on tackling tax revenue leakages in Ghana. Listening to the Ga Manche and his insightful remarks, I am reminded that the strength of our nation lies in both its rich traditions and contemporary institutions working hand in hand. We are here today because we want to collectively face the task of finding answers to a critical subject to our development: tax revenue leakages. At the heart of this topic is citizenship, leadership, national accountability, and service to humanity. When a nation fails to collect the required revenues or loses collected taxes to thieves, corruption, and mismanagement, it will fail to provide responsive service to the people. We must be sincere about the resolve to find solutions to revenue leakages. Ghana's tax system has evolved over time with governmental efforts. In the early post-independence days, revenues came mainly from cocoa and import duties. In the 1990s, we introduced the value-added tax, VAT, though not without the initial controversies such as the Kumipreko demonstrations. Most of these tax regimes targeted the same class of people. By the time I took office in 2001 January, however, we saw the need to further strengthen revenue mobilization. We witnessed the display of determination by the late Grace Coleman, who served as a Deputy Minister for Finance, personally going to the ports to help raise revenues. We firmly believed in the mantra that the private sector is the engine of growth, but we also understood that any growth needed fuel. In governance, that fuel is revenue. Thus, we streamlined and modernized tax collection by unifying all the revenue collection agencies under the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, to increase the power for revenue mobilization. We also adopted automation in the activities of the Revenue Authority by computerizing tax processes, reduce the human interplay and the related bottlenecks. My government laid the foundation to digitize our system in an effort to curb leakages in revenue collection and, most importantly, expand the revenue base. This was imperative because, largely, the taxpayers were in the bracket of formal or public sector employees. Our economy has largely been informal or private. Therefore, most of them operated outside the limited tax or revenue net. As we know too well, quote, "You do not fleece the goose that laid the golden eggs," unquote. The introduction of the National Identification Authority under my reign was more than just for the identity systems, but also an avenue to broaden the tax net to include the private or informal sector who had mostly evaded contributing to our revenue. The private sector is not only a source of a large portion of taxes, it is also a source of expertise, innovation, and efficiency. We also noted that remuneration and wages were woefully inadequate. An unsatisfactory wage or salary, which is overtaxed, definitely annoys the worker. An underpaid or overtaxed worker would find an easy excuse in fraud. So we decided to make tax payment bearable for the ordinary person. We worked to raise the minimum earnings of workers, especially the cocoa farmer. We should remember that tax is not about squeezing more out of the same base by raising rates, but rather it is about broadening the base, enhancing compliance, and fostering growth. During my presidency, we applied a zero tolerance for corruption policy, understanding that corruption is a major driver of revenue leakage. Today, I reiterate that graft and leakages are twin evils that erode public trust and deprive us of the needed development. Many Ghanaians feel reluctant to pay taxes when they are unsure of where the money will go. To overcome this, government must be open about tax and expenditure. Publish the figures, report on projects, celebrate successes, and admit shortcomings where there are any. Trust, once established, creates a virtuous cycle. Compliance is improved, revenue increases, and leakages will naturally decline. Some surveys have found that Ghanaians may be willing to pay more taxes for national development with greater transparency and accountability. In the 21st century, our greatest ally in combating revenue leakage is technology backed by honest personnel. We live in a digital age where data is key and processes can be automated to reduce human error and temptation. Technology represents what we need in minimizing manual interventions. It seals off many of the loopholes that leak revenue. For instance, if the volume of fuel lifted from a depot is automatically reported to a central system, it becomes far harder for any party to underdeclare and avoid paying the appropriate tax. Our history shows that when we combine political will, public trust, and practically informed solutions, we can achieve great strides. It is time to summon these very elements needed to tackle gaps in our revenue collection again. We can pay taxes through secure online platforms where inconsistencies or suspicious transactions are flagged in real time. That future is within reach, and I urge the government to invest in these digital infrastructure and capacity building for our revenue agencies. Ladies and gentlemen, addressing leakages is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Ghana has set a goal in line with our West African peers to reach a 20% tax to GDP ratio and beyond. This is ambitious, but achievable with sustained effort. First, we need the political will and policy consistency. Second is continuous improvement. Third, and perhaps most importantly, we must keep the public engaged and informed. Citizen engagement and taxpayer education should not be a one-off campaign. It should be a continuous conversation. Citizens should know about how their taxes are making a difference in their lives. A growing economy with thriving businesses and gainfully employed citizens will naturally lead to more revenue. Therefore, even as we crack down on leakages, we must continue to pursue policies that stimulate economic growth and diversification. As a country, we must be deliberate about creating wealth and wealthy individuals through a commitment to creativity, innovation, and integrity, as well as hard work. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the task of eliminating tax revenue leakages and improving revenue collection is a formidable one. But it is essential for the future we want. A Ghana that is self-sufficient is the only guarantee to safeguarding our sovereignty. We have the knowledge, the tools, and the people necessary to succeed. Today's forum is proof that across Ghana's society, there is a will to change. Our traditional leaders are committed, our institutions are gearing up with new ideas, our private sector is ready to collaborate, and our citizens are awakened to the need to pay and protect taxes. Let us each live here as an ambassador to plug revenue leakages without fear or favor. Whether as a professional, politician, or business owner pledging honest tax declarations, or a citizen who will hold leaders accountable, we all have a role to play. Together, we can significantly increase our tax to GDP ratio, not by burdening the few, but by empowering and encouraging all to contribute and ensure that contributions are protected and wisely used. Ghana will become the prosperous and inclusive society we envision. I thank the organizers for spearheading this conversation. May the insights we are going to gain and have gained already guide concrete actions in the months and years ahead.